I think part of it is when you think of 4 and 5 star recruits, and especially quarterbacks. I mean, we talked about some potential recruiting busts uh, in how we see it in our view. The same thing happens with quarterbacks, to where we assume a quarterback, because he's a 4 or 5 star rated quarterback, that he's going to be really good. That's a projection. But a lot of times it happens where a guy isn't that good. Like one I can think about off the top of my head is Blake Barnett. He was slated to be the starter, and he did start that USC game. He ended up splitting time with Jalen Hurts, and he just bounced around everywhere. He wasn't as good as most of the recruiting rankings said he was. And for that reason, I think you need to have a high level quarterback in every single class. And maybe you don't always get them, but that you are targeting every single year, because of, number one, just the hit and miss rate on 4 and 5 star quarterbacks, but also now with the one time transfer rule, guys can, if things aren't looking the way they want them to, or maybe another situation is looking more attractive, they now have that opportunity to make that move. So I think it's something that you need to me. There's room for Dante and for CJ if Michigan sees both of those guys as capable of playing at a very high level in the Big Ten.
Mark Grimm is bringing up a name that immediately came to mind as soon as you guys threw this out there, and that's the Manning name.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, now the view that everybody has is that this is a very tight-knit family, very close. They are there for each other. You just see them as that unit. And Archie Manning, the original, so his career was way in front of everyone else's. So you would have thought by the time Peyton came along that tie to Ole Miss, like I lived in Mississippi for 7 years, was a sports director at a station down there, covered the SEC. Ole Miss was one of my 3 main beats there with Alabama and Mississippi State. And they revere Archie Manning like nobody else. And so Peyton Manning, obviously, for whatever reason, whether it was just Tennessee's a better football program, they were just in a much better place than Ole Miss at that point, or he just wanted to blaze his own path. He did. And then Eli makes the decision to go to the same school as his dad and go. And now Arch Manning is apparently going to go somewhere else. So you're going to have, which is crazy when I think about the odds of having 3 quarterbacks in the same family that are all number 1 NFL draft picks is just crazy. The odds of that is just ridiculous. And who knows what's going to happen with Arch Manning. And now you've got a 4th, and he's looking at Texas and Georgia and Alabama and others, and probably won't go to either one of those schools.
Yeah, and I get the comparison, and like once again, it's there's nothing wrong, and it's totally understandable about the kids choosing their own path. Look, a lot of us are like that. A lot of us we can't wait to get out of the house. We can't wait to get our independence. You're not gonna have much independence in terms of being your own person if you're a kid like CJ Carr or Arch Manning going to play at these schools that have such a deep family history. And let's be honest about this too. Not saying this is a factor, but it could be. And it's natural if it was. That's a ton of pressure. Like if you're CJ Carr, you have high expectations. 1, because you're highly rated. 2, because who you are, who your grandfather is. And Michigan as a program has high expectations itself to compete and to win. That's a ton of pressure, and probably isn't fair to the kid, whatever he's going to walk into if he went to Michigan. All those things are understandable. So this is not to demean his decision. Okay, it's just analyzing possibly why it happened. And Antoine, Johnson, he's right. Look, kids leave their home state all the time. It's just that when it does happen, you always want to know why. Why did CJ? How did USC let CJ Stroud? No, was he in California? No. I'm thinking of
Bryce Young, probably.
Bryce Young's what I'm thinking about. Excuse me. Well, I mean, how does USC, UCLA not UCLA, but USC let Bryce Young go to Alabama. Well, one reason is because it's Alabama, but another reason is kind of like, well, USC was terrible, you know. And those things hurt. If I was a USC fan, especially if USC was really good, right? Let's say in a universe that Lincoln Riley was already at USC was winning like 10 games a year, winning the Big 12, but they were just on the precipice of going to that next level, and getting that true 5-star kid like a Bryce Young would have been the prize to possibly get us there. Oh yeah, you best believe I'll be analyzing what possibly went wrong with the USC coaching staff to let that kid go to Alabama, because it matters. And it's like, well, hold on. Yeah, of course he could have just left, but I want to think about why, and maybe some things that we can do to change what doesn't happen again, or to reduce the chances of happening. You know, so that's why it's important to think about and talk about. But no, I mean, it's definitely understandable. And look, you know, the hit rate is also low. You know, not every 5-star kid that gets on campus pans out. Actually, most don't, in terms of becoming a 5-star college football player. So we'll see. We're you know, don't know what the young man is going to do. But it will be weird seeing it'll be our luck as Michigan fans to see CJ go to Notre Dame. And
that was a heavy sigh. That was a very heavy sigh. That's a sigh of someone who's been hurt a lot. That's a sigh.
It'll be tough. That'll be tough. And that's what I'm saying. If it was like Georgia or LSU, I probably wouldn't blink twice. But it's just that it's Notre Dame. Like, oh man, not the Irish. You know, no, they're not Ohio State in terms of hatred. Not MSU, but they're up there. They're up there, and you know, they're local. We're constantly, you know, right in the state of Indiana, you know, we're constantly, you know, competing against them for players. You know, they are a longtime rival of ours. At one point in time, we will be playing each other every year again whenever they start to reschedule that. So it matters. It matters. You know, just like Jerome Bettis, you know, back in the day, you know, going to Notre Dame, you know, like that's always weird to me to think about. You had this great running back / fullback in the city of Detroit, but somehow he ends up going to Notre Dame. You know, how does Michigan or Michigan State not get that Hall of Fame running back to play for them? You know what I'm saying? You know, I always think that's so interesting. So,
yeah.
But
well, and I think to kind of wrap this up too. I mean, you know, CJ Carr cannot sign a letter of intent for, I think we're a year plus out. So things change. I mean, he can commit today and in 3 months be on the Michigan bandwagon. And to me, I think the area of opportunity is this upcoming season where potentially you can win a Big Ten championship, win a national championship, have your 5-star quarterback that you have on the roster in the game, throwing the ball down the field the way that we saw him, you know, against Georgia. So who knows? But like I said, there's still plenty of time, a lot going on. So we shall see.